Hello, class. I'd like to go over a few of the common problems I am seeing at the sentence level in your writing. Now, keep in mind, I expect to see these problems in your rough draft. If one of your sentences is highlighted in this demonstration, do not feel bad. Do not feel like you are doing something wrong. I could have pulled a sentence from everybody's essay. Um, it's part of the writing process that when you have a draft, you'll have errors in it. And then the whole point of this class is to learn how to revise your papers so that you work out most of the errors in that final draft. So this demonstration is just to help you see some of the common things that I am seeing that may appear in your papers, even if these aren't your sentences. The first one is word choice issues. Look at this first sentence. iPhones are the most profitable product in history till now. Well, till is not a word in this context, right? What the writer meant was iPhones are the most profitable product in history until now. So be careful, don't abbreviate words or use slang in academic writing. You want to use the complete appropriate word. There are other sentences that are just simply awkward, that when you read them aloud, they don't sound exactly right, or the subject and verb are in places that make the sentence awkward. So here's one. Hardware and software in a phone is really important when buying. What makes this sentence awkward is this phrase at the very end of the sentence. So let's make it more complete. It is important to consider the hardware and software when buying a phone. That's a better sentence. The thought is more complete and easier to understand. Here's another sentence with some awkward wording and some awkward thoughts. It is a known fact that the more you consume caffeine, calories, and sodium, there is an increased possibility of negative health effects. Well, there's a couple of things going on with this sentence. First, the subject is really buried. It's kind of like in the middle of the sentence and not clear. Also, I would argue that people need to consume calories and sodium. So the only reason there'd be a negative effect, right, is if you overdid that. So maybe we can reword this sentence in a better way. How about this? People have an increased possibility of negative health consequences when they consume caffeine, extra calories, and high sodium. I think that more clearly conveys what the writer's intention was with that sentence. And here's another sentence to show awkward wording. For the deciding factor, show and movie choices, it was found that Netflix and Hulu had a similar amount of show choices and also movie choices. Now, when I read that aloud, you can hear that there are problems with that sentence. And that's why in your feedback, I told many of you, try to read your sentences aloud to yourself or have somebody else read them aloud to you, because you can often hear what you cannot see. So to revise this sentence, I did this. When I examined the movie choices available on Hulu and Netflix, I found they each have a good range of choices. All right? That gets to the point, that expresses the thought, and there's no awkward wording. Another problem that shows up in many essays are run-on sentences. Here's an example. On my free time, I love to mess around with makeup, comma, I watch makeup tutorials on YouTube and get inspired. What makes this a run-on sentence is the comma that's located right there. It separates two complete sentences. If I said, on my free time I love to mess around with makeup, that is a complete thought, complete sentence. If I say I watch makeup tutorials on YouTube and get inspired, that is another complete sentence. You cannot combine two complete sentences with a comma. It's just not strong enough to do that, and that's what creates what we call a run-on sentence. Here's how it can be improved. Okay, during my free time, notice I changed the word on to during because it's a better word choice. During my free time, I love to mess around with makeup. I inspire myself by watching makeup tutorials on YouTube. Okay, notice I put a period here and ended the first sentence. I also capitalized YouTube in the way that it should be capitalized. So there's a few things to pay attention to there. Here's another sentence fragment. The iPhone 8, on the other hand, is a complete opposite. Its design follows the previous iPhone designs from over the past 4 years. All right, again, the comma here is separating two complete sentences, so it is creating a run-on sentence. There are also some problems with wording in this sentence and capitalization. If you're writing about an iPhone, how should that word be written? Should it be like this in the first part of the sentence or like this in the second part of the sentence? Figure out how it should be displayed and do it consistently. All right, here's my example of how to improve the sentence. The iPhone 8, comma, on the other hand, comma, because I'm calling out that transitional phrase, is the complete opposite, semicolon. Its design follows the previous iPhone from past years. So I fixed the comma splice that created the run-on sentence by using a semicolon. A semicolon is appropriate here because it separates two sentences that are related in idea. Okay, they are related enough that they can be separated with a semicolon. I could have also put a period here and it would have been correct. All right, the final thing that shows up often in your papers are sentence fragments. And a sentence fragment is a sentence that does not express a complete thought. It is lacking either a subject or a verb in most cases. So here's an example. Mostly looking for a 12-hour shift without aches, a good shape of the insole due to the high arch on my foot. Okay, this is a sentence fragment because there is no subject. There's nothing doing the looking. All right, so to revise that, I wrote, I am comparing both shoes during a 12-hour shift to determine which are more comfortable on my high arches. So I gave it a subject early in the sentence. I am comparing, I'm doing something during this shift to determine something. So that makes it a complete sentence and not a sentence fragment. I hope this review of some of the common sentence level errors that appear in the papers helps you as you revise Essay 2 for the final draft. Thanks.